Hello, everyone. I'm Jill Bollwerk.
And I'm Andy Pickler.
And we are the attorneys at Bollwerk and Associates. Welcome to another episode of Coffee with the Counselors. Today, we are going to talk about part 4 of our 4-part series on understanding your auto policy in Missouri. Today, we're going to talk about underinsured motorist coverage. But before we start, we got to show them our mugs. We haven't gotten any new coffee mugs yet. From anyone. So I'm just using Elon University, which is where my son went to school.
And I'm recycling from last week, Foster Web Marketing.
Yes, they're great. We love them. We'll
That's
keep
right.
using their coffee mugs until somebody else sends us a different one. So anyway, underinsured motorist coverage. Last week we talked about uninsured,
Yep.
which is UM. Today we're talking about underinsured, which is UIM. So Andy, give the people a definition of what that is.
So underinsured motorist coverage is, let's say you're in an accident again. This time somebody has coverage, liability coverage, but if they only have, say, $25,000 and you're injured to where it's going to take more than $25,000 to make you whole, then your underinsured motorist coverage can kick in after the policy limits are taken on the $25,000, and you can pursue an additional amount through your insurance company.
Yeah, so it's great to have it because it protects you if you get hurt by somebody that doesn't have a lot of coverage. The difference between UM and UIM is UIM, underinsured motorist coverage, is not mandatory like it is like underinsured motorist coverage is. Right. So not every policy in Missouri has underinsured motorist coverage. And because it's not mandatory, if there's a provision in the policy that says that the policy doesn't stack with other policies in your household, that's going to be enforceable on a UIM, an underinsured case. So what else are we going to talk about with UIM?
There are some policy provisions that I think are important to talk about. The first one is before your UIM can kick in, you do need, first of all, to get the policy limits on the underinsured driver. So if they have, say, $25,000, you need to get the full $25,000 before your UIM can kick in. And in order to do that, you also need to get permission from your insurance carrier to pursue that the policy limit for the other driver.
And then after you get their permission, you can settle the case for the policy limits and then pursue a second claim against your underinsured motorist carrier for any additional damages that you've suffered above what the other driver paid for. Two other policy provisions that are really important in underinsured motorist cases are who is an underinsured motorist and how much money is there actually available to you. So first, who is an underinsured motorist? This is important because most people think it's just, if I have $100,000 and the person only has $100,000, I get another $100,000. It depends on how the policy is written. A lot of policies nowadays are written to define an underinsured motorist as somebody who has less coverage than you do. So we see this all the time. We'll have a client that will have $100,000 in underinsured motorist coverage, and they will get that person, the other person's $100,000 coverage, and then come to find out they don't have any underinsured coverage because the way that the policy defines an underinsured motorist is somebody who has less insurance than you.
Right.
Now, sometimes it's defined as somebody who doesn't have enough coverage to pay your claim, and then that money is available to you. So you really have to review the policy and how it's written on who is an underinsured motorist. But secondly, how much do you have available? And we've run into that quite a bit lately. So why don't you explain that issue?
Yeah, so it kind of, as you touched on it briefly before, so if, let's say the person that hit you has $25,000, that's an easy number to use, it's the minimum. So after you get permission and you pursue that $25,000 limit and get that, you would then put in a second claim with your UIM carrier. Now, if you have a UIM for $100,000, depending on how that policy is written, more often than not, it's just going to bridge the gap, assuming that your damages are that high, to meet that $100,000, meaning that your UIM would pay out $75,000 to combine with that the initial $25,000 that you got to make that $100,000.
Yeah, and believe me, we don't like to tell our clients that, because they think I have $100,000. when they actually don't. They only have up to 100,000 combined with what the other driver has.
Right.
Now, not all policies say that. And like I said, oftentimes they say, this money is in excess.
Mm-hmm.
So it is extremely important when you have a serious accident and you have underinsured motorist coverage to contact a lawyer to help, to at least get some help in understanding what coverage you have, what you need to do to make the claim, and how that coverage is going to be affected based on how much you get from the other driver.
Right.
So I'm sure we confused the heck out of you. That wasn't the intention. We hope to shed some light on underinsured motorist coverage, but it's confusing.
Yeah, it is.
It's not an easy part of your coverage. So if you have it, good for you for protecting yourself. It's usually worth it. And believe me, there's a lot of clients that, could have received $50,000 if they didn't have it. And because they had it, they got $500,000. So I always think that people should get it if you can afford it, of course. So what else do we have to talk about with underinsured? I think we covered all the bases.
Yeah, I think we did, without confusing people any further.
Yes. So we've completed our 4-part series on understanding your auto insurance policy. If you've watched the videos and you have any questions, go ahead and leave a comment, because we would love to address that on a future episode. We're doing these conversations to just kind of give you some information, but we're lawyers. We talk like lawyers, and what we think makes sense to us makes no sense to somebody else.
Right.
And it's just because we talk like we work all day. So anyway, hope that was informative, and we will, I guess, see you next time.
Yeah.
I don't know what we're going to talk about. We finished the series. What's next?
It'll be a surprise for everyone, including
We
us.
have to think about it. Okay, everybody. Well, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.